Welcome to this week's DigiScrap layout. I'm Anita with beandesigns.com. Thank you for watching this video and sharing in my journey. This two-page spread will feature our son and his new wife along with the family at their wedding in December. We will discuss the right page in this video. We're going to stack papers and add stitching, crop some photos, create a title, add dimension to the pictures, elements, and pages. Let's get started by opening a new image. We'll go to File, New. We're going to Advanced Options to choose 300 pixels per inch and 3600 by 3600 pixels for our image size. I'm going to set this over on my left side of our finished page so we have a reference for where we're going. We'll start by pulling in photos and papers that we're going to have on the page. So let's pull in this flower. Let's pull in paper, paper, and another paper. We're also going to bring in this scallop. This flower. I will leave a link to the kits that I'm using on this page. I'll leave a link in the description box. We're going to get stitching from this kit here. Okay, so we have all of our elements. We need pictures. So on this page, we need this picture and this picture and this picture. We're going to start by scaling all of them down inside. I highlight the photo I want to scale, choose the scale tool, click on it, and then just drag. Push scale to activate the scale. Next, highlight the next photo, scale tool, click on the picture, activate the layer scale. Scale. Push my M key for the move tool. I can pull this photo. I want to make this photo square. I'm going to crop out the top portion of it. Crop tool in our toolbox. This is my active layer. Click on our image and draw my square. In my tool options toolbar, I can look to see how many pixels this is to see if it's pretty close to square. It is very close to square. Now I just click inside the box, inside my selection, and it takes away the remainder. I can use my scale tool now to shrink it in size more. Let's highlight and use my move tool. We're highlighting the middle picture. It's still large, so we're going to scale it down and apply that. Move tool Let's move this guy, move this one. Excellent. Let's move this one up, move the square over. Okay. I'm gonna put the top left picture. I'm gonna reorder it on the layer palette. Chose my crop tool. This is my active layer, so I'm going to crop a rectangle. There we go. Click inside the cropped area. Scale tool, apply that action. Let's move it up to the corner. Excellent. I'm going to move this one. Okay, this looks pretty good. So now what we're going to do is look at the embellishments, the decorations. Let's move our pictures, our photos, down to where they are below all of our elements. So now I've got my move tool active. Let's pull this lace, pull the scallop. Those both need to be below our photos, so I'm reordering them. On our layer palette, okay? And let's scale the flowers. Scale tool, apply that action. Highlight the next flower, apply that, and scale our fuchsia flower. And apply that. Move tool, let's move these down to cluster area. We're going to duplicate each of them. We'll make 2 of the whites, 2 of the fuchsias, and 3 of the dark ones. I'm going to pull one dark one up here, another dark one over here, a fuchsia one here, and something like that. I can see now that I have put one of my photos underneath. So let's go there. Let's make our background papers that we pulled into our image into stacked layered papers. First step, make the blue paper the active layer. Choose our rotate tool, click on our layer, and rotate it to the left. Apply that action. Highlight the white paper with the floral and rotate to the right. Apply that action. We now have layered papers for our background. Now let's take a look at our stitching. So we brought in one line of stitching when we brought in our elements. I'm going to increase our magnification. The stitching is difficult to grab at that 25% because you tend to grab a different layer than the one that you really want. So I made it 50%. And let's grab that stitching line once more. I grabbed the paper layer instead. So we're going to push Edit, Undo Move Layer. Stitching line, yes. And I want to put it to where it's just on the bottom of this photo. And I want it to be on the white paper and on the blue paper. That is an excellent, it's good. I like where it is. I need to highlight that stitching layer. So I'm going to go to my layer palette, locate it, and I want to duplicate it once for the top, once for the left side, and once for the right side. So I'm going to grab it, move it to the top of the page, make sure it's on this white paper, scroll over. It is not on the blue paper, so I'm going to move it down just a smidgen, and then it's just across the top of that picture. I'm okay with that location. So let's highlight. We can see that one of the duplicated stitching lines is active. We're going to use our rotate tool. Click on that, and we want to rotate this 90 degrees. Rotate, apply that action. Let's use the move tool, grab hold of that stitch line, and move it to the left. See, I want it on top of the blue layer. Let's make sure it is not up at the top. So let's grab it and pull it up. It's on the white paper and it's on the blue paper. Okay, we're going to rotate the other bottom layer of stitching 90 degrees. Apply that action. Move tool to the right. Okay. Let's pull it up. My move tool is still active. I'm going to grab the picture and put it just under the stitching. So the stitching is holding it down. Stitching done. Let's zoom out. We're now to the point we have all of our components on the page. Let's add dimension and shadows. So when I do this, I tend to go from the bottom up. So what I'm going to do is use my selection tool. I'm going to feather my edges and round my corners and select a square around the edge of my entire image. I'm going to go to the bottom layer and duplicate that. Push delete on my keyboard. Mode, multiply. And then I'm going to go move to the next layer up, duplicate that, delete, mode, multiply. Next layer up, duplicate, delete, mode, multiply. I'm able to use my selection over and over. So that gives a darkened edge around the entire edges of our page. I'm going to go to the next to bottom layer where we have the darkened edge on that dark paper, and we're going to reduce the opacity. Okay. Now we're going to select none. While this gave an excellent darkening around the entire edge of our paper, I would like to have dimension on each individual paper in the stacked layer. So let's I would like to duplicate the white layer with the flowers once again, and we're going to right click, alpha to selection, select feather, okay, and then select shrink, okay, and delete that section, delete the middle portion, go to our mode for the layer and do the multiply once again. This is on the exact edge all the way around that white layer. We're going to do the same thing to the blue layer. Duplicate it. We're going to alpha to selection. We're going to feather our selection and shrink our selection to remove the center part and leave the outer edge of that paper, and then on that outer edge we're just going to multiply it and help that to stand out a little bit. So working our way up from the bottom, the next layer that we have is our little lace cluster. So we're going to make that active. I'm going to go to light and filters, light and shadow, drop shadow. Then the next item up is that scallop. I'm going to filters, light and shadow, drop shadow. And then we're going to do the same thing with our flowers, which brings to point that I want to move. Let me just grab the stitching and let's pull that stitching down on top of our all of our papers. So that's 1, 2, 3. We're going to do all 4 of our stitching layers. We're going to move them to be just on top of our papers. Excellent. Then we'll do our shadows on our flowers. Flower is there. We're going to do our shadows on our flowers. I'm going to magnify this so you can see what we're doing here. So if you can have an idea of what we're filters, light and shadow, drop shadow. You can see which one I'm working on because it's highlighted. And then you can watch the shadow appear. I believe that was the top one on top of there. I notice here now that I have zoomed in that I didn't actually want the stitching all the way on top of the papers because I wanted the stitching on top of my photos. I will need to readjust that. I'm going to make the square photo my active layer. I'm going to ink the edges of this. I'm going to right click and select alpha to selection. I need to duplicate the photo. Then I'm going to go to select and I'm going to feather my selection by 25. Okay. Then I'm going to select shrink by 10 and I'm going to delete the intersection of the top copy. I'm going to go to mode and click on difference, and that just now inked the edges of that photo, making it stand out. I'm going to do the same thing over here to this photo up at the top. I have the selection, I deleted the center, and now I'm going to go to mode and push difference. And do the same thing to the large photo. I'm going to duplicate it, right click, alpha to selection, select feather, okay, select shrink, okay, delete, mode, and difference. Select none. Now we need to work on our title. We're not going to put journaling on this page because it is part of the 2-page spread and our journaling will be over on the left page, but I do want a title on this page. So I'm going to move my layers up to where I'm on the top layer. I'm going to choose my text tool, make sure that my tool options are visible, and I'm going to click on my layer and type in family. Now, there you go. Normally, it wouldn't already be the same color that you need or the same font that you need. So how about we walk through what that would look like? In order to color this, you would click over on your right in your tool options palette. You can click into the color area and it opens up a secondary menu section. You can click anywhere in your grid here to click a color, choose a color. Right here, you can see the old color and the current color. I haven't changed anything, so these are both the same. So what if I were to choose this blue color? That would choose, this is my current, and I can click anywhere in this color palette to change this current color. I can also use this eyedropper on the right side. I can use an eyedropper, and I can click anywhere on my image and to choose a new color. I'm going to cancel all of that because I like the color I already had. In order to change the font, you would click right here in your tool options. You can click on where the font is, and here are all the fonts that are loaded in your program, and you can choose whichever font you would like to use for your particular title. You can also choose to change the size. You type in your size here, push enter, and it is applied. So those are the tools for your title. Let's click on the move tool now. I can move my family right into the area I want it. We want to add a shadow to our title. So I'm going to increase our magnification so that you can see what we're doing. Family, our text, is the active layer. I'm going to go to filters. I'm going to go to light and shadow, and I'm going to go to the drop shadow toolbar. So when I clicked on that, it put in the shadow. I'm going to take it off and put it on. So you can see what happens. It just makes it pop quite a bit. And we're going to push OK. So we applied the shadow. Our page is finished. We're going to work on the left side of this 2-page spread in our next video. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video and joining me through this journey. This completes our 4th layout with 48 more to go. Remember to save frequently while creating your scrapbook page in the native GIMP.xcf format until your page is complete. Then you can export as a JPEG file in preparation for printing. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and look in the description box below for information regarding the designers of the papers and elements I used in this layout. Who is your favorite digital designer? Leave a message below and let me know. Have a great day. Blessings on you and your family as you make and preserve memories for the future generations through scrapbooking. Bye-bye until next week.